Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Antman. I'm the chairperson of the Student Development Committee of the Florida Music Education Association. We're excited to have you tonight for our fifth webinar about music in college for high school students. Tonight's session is going to be about how can you get involved in music in college, whether or not you're a music major. We've got three great panelists here tonight. I'm going to let them introduce themselves one at a time, and then we're going to go at 6:45. We will start, not 6:45, I'm sorry, 7:15. So 45 minutes in, we're going to open up for questions. And you guys that are here with us tonight in Zoom, feel free to ask anything that you want to know. Our panelists have a lot of great information for you. And if you're watching at home on the Facebook stream, feel free to jump in on the Zoom link and interact with us a little bit. That'd be great. And maybe we'll start with Dr. Chapman from FAU. If you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Delane Chapman. I'm the music education coordinator at Florida Atlantic University. And I am so happy to be here with all of you today. I have a background in band and orchestra and a little bit of choir, but mostly instrumental music. We'll leave that to Dr. Miller tonight. Like I said, I'm just really happy to be here with you guys, and I look forward to a lot of great questions that you might have. Hope we can be of some help to you.
All right, and how about Dr. Wilson from FSU?
Good evening, everyone. I am Chandler Wilson. I am the Assistant Director of Athletic Bands and Assistant Professor of Music Education here at Florida State University. Florida native, born and raised in Miami, taught down in Broward County for several years. I'm here in Tallahassee, but excited to be here with everyone and to answer any questions that you guys may have, because we definitely want to make sure that you continue music through the rest of your life. It's something that you've spent so much time doing. We want to make sure and encourage you on ways that you can continue to do that. So I'm very excited to be here.
Great. And Dr. Miller from UCF.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kelly Miller, and I'm the coordinator of music education at the University of Central Florida. My background actually is band and choir as both. I started as a high school band director before going to choir. So at UCF, I am predominantly a conductor in the choir ensembles or with the choir ensembles, but because of my instrumental background, have enjoyed working with the bands and the orchestra as well. So happy to be here this evening, and just hope we can give you a lot of encouragement to just keep on being a musician at whatever you are interested in doing, and excited to just encourage you.
Okay, and for the people who are on, we have some viewers on the Facebook feed. I have that open in my office, so if you wanted to ask a question, feel free to put that in the comments on Facebook, and I can certainly pass those along as well. So we're here tonight to talk about opportunities for you to participate in music when you go to college. And so what we're going to do is I have a series of questions we're going to ask our panelists tonight, give them some time to talk. And as we're going, if you have any questions at all, feel free to kind of raise your hand or put a question in the chat, and I will get to you. I promise. Some of them we may hold towards the end. Some of them we'll answer right away. But please feel free to ask us anything that you want to know. So my first question, which is probably the most important question, is why should a student look into participating in music in college? Maybe they didn't decide to be a music major. Why would they take a music course in college? What opportunities are available to them?
Well, I'll jump in and get started because the ensembles that I conduct right now are the non-auditioned ensembles. And there are so many incredible music programs, K through 12, in the state of Florida, that I think it's just so important. One of the greatest gifts you can give your K-12 music teachers is to just keep on being a lifelong musician. And there is opportunity everywhere in every single ensemble as a non-major. And it's so important to keep using this incredible skill that you have honed after years. You've been given incredible opportunities. You've learned life lessons. so many of the 21st century skills that will be helpful and help you be successful at whatever you're choosing to do. It's just keep the participation in the ensemble, and you keep growing and just being this lifelong learner. And I think community and the opportunities that are given through music, it just doesn't stop. And not only whether you're going into a 2-year school, a 4-year school, there's plenty of community involvement, things that you can be a part of for your entire life, on into as old as you would like to be a participant. There is something in music, in an ensemble, for everyone, for so many wonderful reasons.
Right. And I would like to add to that too, is not just academic reasons either, right? A little bit of what Dr. Miller was talking about too, are social reasons, right? I mean, it's hugely important to be involved in things when you get into a college or a university, just for the social aspect. You know, you might go up there with people that you know, and things like that. But, you know, after a while, you're going to meet so many different people when you're a part of a group. And they always, I mean, they say that when you're going into high school or even into middle school, you know, be a part of something. But it's a very big deal to be able to walk onto a college campus and know that you have this instant group of people that you are getting a great chance to make music with and continue to do what you've been doing. So, I mean, I think this a social aspect is hugely important.
And I guess to round it out is, you know, we talk about the social aspect and things that we want to continue doing. A part of it also, it is an outlet, right? So a lot of times we've been using music as an outlet for something to do outside of studying math or science and things like that. And, you know, if you're not a music major and you want to still continue that, this gives you a chance, you know, for once or twice a week to kind of get your head out of the books and just play and do something that you enjoy. It's almost similar to like intramural sports. A lot of students, you'll see that too as soon as you get to college. A lot of people are playing softball and soccer and football. They're doing things that kind of just, you know, blow off some steam from, you know, the day-to-day life in college. And music is one of those things that we can always continue to do. And we can continue to do that in the life after we graduate also. So even if you're working a job somewhere, now you can still actually play or gig with your friends on the weekend or things like that. So it is an outlet as well as everything that was already mentioned.
You know, also the idea too, that, you know, when you're talking about blowing off steam at the end of the day, I mean, I remember, I mean, I'm a Florida girl. I went to, you know, Florida State and did marching chiefs. And boy, I tell you what, every day from 4 to 6, I looked forward to just getting outside and just, that's the place you just kind of let it go. And that was a very important part of I think the kind of like releasing all of that stress that happens during the day. So if for no other reason, like I said before, you know, you're in this big group and you got all your friends there, and it's a big deal. It really was. So I appreciate the fact that Dr. Chandler was talking about being able to kind of regroup and blow off some steam there for.
Well, and I heard Dr. Miller mention a minute ago that she directs non-auditioned ensembles. You mean to tell me that if I were going to college, I could be in an ensemble and I don't have to audition or anything?
Correct. And all of our ensembles are for both majors and non-majors. And then we have lots of ensembles that are non-auditioned. We have some that are auditioned, but there really is a place for everybody. My particular choirs are the Come One, Come Y'all. The majority of my singers this semester are engineering and nursing majors. Throw in some psychology and like Dr. Wilson had said, that they're working on all of this left brain, wonderful information, and then they come to choir and they have time to let that process and let that creative spirit be a part of a community and the creation of music. And it's just something that's very, very powerful. So it does not have to be an audition. We still have the same expectation of excellence. Sometimes we actually perform more than the audition groups do. And so there's everything that you would want to do in traveling and performing at state conferences and regional conferences. We're still doing all of that with the unauditioned Come One, Come Y'all, whether it is orchestra, band, choir, Jazz, you do have to audition for, but they have a couple of ensembles where they might not. It just kind of depends on the semester there. Marching band is predominantly non-auditioned. The percussion line and the guard might have some auditions, but again, it just kind of depends. And so you want to check it out. Lots of opportunities, and theater as well, just performing arts. Go forth and perform.
Well, and I heard you mention in there that you're predominantly right now engineering and nursing majors.
Yes.
And it's funny, I've had students that have gone off to college and have said, I don't know if I'm a major, I'm going to have time. And what you don't realize is that for a normal major, college is a lot less time intensive sometimes than high school. So you go from having class all day, every day, to having a couple classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, some classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you probably have a lot more time to participate in these things than you realize. But so I want to verify, because if I were a senior in high school, I would be blown away right now. So I could just show up, sign up, and play in a band or sing in a choir.
Yes, it depends on which one, but yes, we have our concert band. You just have to register for the course. You do have to take it as a course. It's not just, it is something that you pay 1 credit for. So there is a credit requirement, but all you need to do is register, sign up. That's all you do for both of my choirs. You just sign up.
And you guys, you take everybody.
I take absolutely everybody that walks in.
Even a saxophone player like me, because sometimes band directors are like, I have too many saxophone players, we don't want you.
Hey, that means you're a strong reader. You're good. I gotcha. Absolutely.
Right. Well, that sounds good to me.
And our choirs are constantly getting together with both the orchestra and the bands to combine works. We're collegial. We keep everybody together. And again, it's just come and be a part of it. And students miss it, especially, again, I want to say, because if you're coming from a Freedom High School with Mr. Antman, Dr. Antman, you are just so used to this incredible, you don't even know how good you have it until you leave. And when it's not a part of your life, you just can't wait to get that band, that jazz band, that orchestra, whatever it is, back as a part of your schedule. So absolutely.
Yeah, I have, there have been, many students who have come to me second semester and said, well, I didn't realize I would miss it this much. I didn't realize I'd have this much time in my schedule to do it. I just really want to play, or I really want to sing. And, that's the truth of it right there. Right now you might be feeling exhausted from just everything and think, I cannot do one more thing in college. I'll be glad to just have, well, you're going to have a lot more time than you think. Almost dangerously more time than you think. And, but you know what? That's why I would just urge everybody to think about it. And what I usually will tell students when they're not sure is I take it for a semester, see what you think. See what you think about it, and typically they stick with it after that, because it's a part of our life. All of us here, we grew up doing it, and it's a part of our life.
And one thing I think, to tie it all together is, a lot of other activities don't have that same level of opportunity in college. Like if you were on a water polo team, you can't just hop on a water polo team. You're going to really have to, try out and things like that. And, we're talking about time. We, for 13 years of our lives, from kindergarten through 12th grade, we've had the same regimen. We wake up, we go to school, we have lunch, go back to class, maybe do something after school, something like that. But college, as mentioned, it is free. You may have nothing on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And what happens, and just like Dr. Chapman mentioned, it can be dangerously free. So at the same time, now you're giving yourself a little bit more structure. You're keeping yourself organized, putting yourself in places where, you're, kind of making sure you're doing a little bit of everything, so you can manage your time a little better, and you can use different groups, whether it's, campus ensembles or marching band, to find folks that are in different majors, or folks that are in your majors that are doing the same thing as well. But it's one of the very few things that you can always continue to do. And we talked about not just in college, but of course, once you graduate from college, if there's a community group you can always continue music, period. And that's just one of the really cool things about it, with all the free time you're going to have.
Well, and just a reminder to the people who are watching on Facebook, we got 13 or 14 people watching online at home. If you have a question, feel free to drop that in the in the chat. I believe I have that open with my amazing technological skills. I'll be glad to pass those questions along. So now I find out I can take my saxophone on my back, go up to college, and I can just show up and play. How do I find out? So where do I look? How do I learn about these opportunities?
Well, there are several different ways that you can do that. It's always easier if you find us, right? It's always easier that way. But at least at FAU, we have a way that we've sort of channeled through the registrar's office to be able to tag students. We have keywords that are filled out, and that we find those that say either band, chorus, or orchestra. And so sometimes we can find the students. But like I said, that is much more laborious than if you guys find where we are. And I've had students just walk right up to the music building and say, is this where I'm supposed to be? And I say, it depends on what you're here for. And they say, well, I want to play, or I sang in choir and I don't know if I'm allowed to. And those are all the questions that a webinar like this we hope can answer for you. Because yes, if you just come over there and you find us, we will be able to place you. And we'll probably give you more information than you want to know, but we will give you a lot of information about how to continue doing this.
I joke at home a lot whenever I don't know anything, and I'll just look at my wife and I say, Google it, right? And it's almost the same thing. So if you have a question, type in FAU music, type in UCF music, type in FSU music, and tons of stuff will come up. And you can just click and find your instrument, find ensembles, find what groups are there and things like that. And don't be afraid to ask questions. That's one thing about college that's going to be something that's a little different is a lot of it's going to be on you as the student to kind of do a lot of things. So if you have questions, feel free to shoot somebody an email. And I don't think anybody would ever turn down an email of somebody that's willing to participate or wanting to play as well. So if you have questions about the day that the class meets, or level of musicianship, or if I'm if I'm a stronger player and I was an all-state player, but I'm an engineering major, can I audition for the wind ensemble? Yes, you can. Here's what you need to do, things like that. So we can answer tons of questions, but just kind of look us up, as Dr. Chapman mentioned, and just Google it, find some information, and send out some emails to get some information.
And along with the sending out the emails, you can look on any of our websites, and it's going to give you information on ensembles and tabs that will say, here's audition information, or if there's no audition information, that's listed on that website as well. But say you're having trouble finding that and you find the faculty listing of all the names, if you find that saxophone professor, email the saxophone professor. They'll tell you about the ensembles. If you can, all you find is, College of Performing or College of Music, School of Performing Arts, whatever, and you find a general information number. I get all sorts of phone calls transferred to me from just a general music number. And even if it has something to do with nothing that I know, I can at least get you to the right place. I can at least get you to the right person. So any kind of way that you reach out, someone will get the information, and everybody's always happy to answer and help you get whatever it is that you're looking for as far as information. But just, it's no problem to look up those specific faculty folks, or maybe you're a violinist and you find the viola professor, they'll know how to get you in touch with violin. So or orchestra, the orchestra director. So any way you need to.
And just quickly, what about auditioning? Can I audition for ensembles that music majors are typically in?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Again, we have non-majors in all of our ensembles. I think every single ensemble has non-majors. So, and that's even in the most, I think of jazz just because it's smaller numbers, and so there's going to have, it's going to be more competitive, but there's non-majors. So you're welcome to be a part of whatever you're striving for.
Well, and I remember, not too long ago when I went up and I went to FSU as an undergraduate music major, the way I feel like I found out about most opportunities was just walking around seeing flyers, pinned all over, which still is a thing. You'd think with the internet, we'd stop having papers taped to walls, but they're there and you could just walk around. So if you find your way to the music building, we'll just walk around. And I remember seeing a flyer for salsa band when I was in college. And that was one of the best experiences of my college career. And I had no idea what it even was until I saw it. I showed up to the audition night and I did that, I think, for 3 years of college. So speaking of, ensembles like that, what opportunities, so we talked about audition versus non-audition, but what kind of ensembles? Because I know, so for example, in high school, at our choir department, we have a great choir here, and there's men's choir and there's women's choir and there's chamber choir and any number of adjectives with the word choir after them. Same thing with band. We've got marching band, jazz band, concert band. That's pretty much it. But it seems like in college, there are a lot more opportunities, diverse opportunities. So what kind of things might you have at your university that a high school student wouldn't even know about?
I know for us, we have several several groups that are based on different national traditions. So we have a group that may focus on a lot of Asian Oriental type music. We have some that'll be kind of Indian pop type stuff, and it's kind of you can find everything. And a lot of times, as Dr. Antman mentioned, some of the things you won't necessarily find on the website. A lot of them are going to be things that you're just going to happen to see a poster and be like, hey, we have this group that we're starting up. You're welcome to join, type thing. So I know for us, we have several and tons of groups. A lot of those are led by students. A lot of those are, projects that professors put on that are off to the side a bit as well. So even like your salsa band or your at one point, I think we had like a swing dancing class that a lot of students in the music department were taking. That's not performing music, but it's still involved with music, a different style of music, and doing movement and stuff to it. So we have tons of things. I mean, so I guess a little too much to mention, but I'm sure just a lot like everywhere else.
Yeah, and lots of, we had a yoga for singers class that was so popular. Now it's open to instrumentalists as well, and it all deals with health. And so there's so many different variants all the time. And there's so many smaller ensembles as well, tuba choirs, all sorts of student-led. There's kind of official ones, and then there's student-led ones, kind of like the intramural sports that Dr. Wilson mentioned earlier. There's just so many different opportunities, and there, sometimes there's drum circles, and there's all the percussion ensembles in addition to, the other. So lots and lots of little things. We've got all the a cappella choirs, the gospel choir, just an incredible amount of opportunities. There's musical theater opportunities, and often theater is a different department, but they're still using instrumentalists for their shows. So I hired a non-music major to be in one of the shows I was conducting. So there's just lots that you're familiar with, and if you're unsure, ask, and there's probably someone we can direct you to.
Years ago, we in the state of Florida, we tried to, for K-12 music, we tried to include, in addition to the band chorus orchestra model that we all know and love in our schools, we tried to include some other aspects of ensembles, because we found out that just back in the day, there was only like 17% of students in high schools were involved in music throughout the state of Florida. So it kind of made you wonder, what are the other 83% doing, right? And they all love music. They're all listening to music. So what was it? So we tried to open up drum circles. We tried to open up all different kinds of opportunities for those students. And we found that in higher ed, those students were still looking for that when they went on to their universities or colleges or universities. So there's so many opportunities now because of that. I mean, I looked on our course schedule the other day and I saw didgeridoo. And I remember thinking, what? right? And I'm thinking, I need to go see our didgeridoo choir. I haven't seen that yet. But you know what? It's things like that that you just wouldn't even think of, that some very cool things that you can be involved in. And of course, like Dr. Miller and Dr. Wilson said, you know, it's the thing is that it's out there if you look for it. And if you look in that course catalog and you're just not sure what that is, you Google it, or you pick up the phone and you call one of us, email one of us, and we'll be happy to lead you to the didgeridoo closet where the didgeridoos live. Yeah, because there's a whole lot of things going on with that. And I mean, I would add to everything that they both said with all the opportunities in our university as well.
Well, and you might in your gen ed requirements need an arts class. And so we've had students that are taking history of rock because they want to take a music class that will work in their non-music major, and that brings them to the music building and or in close proximity. And then you hear this group and then you hook up with that, meet that friend, and it just leads to the connection and community. No matter, it's like you can't get away from it. And I really think that if you are someone who's had all this incredible musical experience, music will find you. And if it's something that you need and it needs to be a part of your schedule, it's going to find you, you're going to know it. And whether that's enjoyment of music, history of rock, or an ensemble, there's something for you.
I agree. And a small little quick piggyback is like, even right now at 7 o'clock, we have a group here that we just started on Monday. We're doing 3 consecutive Mondays. We're calling it Reading Band. And we got some composers, including myself, unfortunately, that, you know, sometimes we need to hear stuff live before we send it off. So it's a low key, low stress, just, hey, come play, sight read, pick up the next piece, play, sight read. And, you know, a lot of people are interested in it because they just want to play and just have a good time. But that's kind of, if you just happen to be around the music building, you just kind of picked it up type deal. So stuff always pops up, you know, with, you know, opportunities and stuff to play.
You know, and it's like I tell our prospective middle school kids all the time, and that is, you need credits to graduate anyway. You know, why stop doing something you're already really good at?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many opportunities available to you in college, clearly, just all kinds of things. So, which leads me to my next question. Oftentimes when you're in a high school group, there's some sort of fee associated with it. And so I get the question all the time, what if they, you know, so we talk about marching band a lot. What if we have to go to a bowl game and I can't afford to go? Or what if I can't afford this trip? Or what if I can't afford the membership fee for this ensemble? How does that actually work in college?
Well, I'll start with so here with the marching chiefs, and like most standard colleges, you just have to pay for a shirt, your shoes, and your gloves. That's it. There's no fee associated. It's covered by the athletic department. So when we travel, it's free of charge for you. In fact, they also 9 times out of 10 are going to give you some type of per diem so you can eat. So you kind of get quote unquote paid, I guess, you know, to be a part of that, you know, opportunity. But there's, you know, at least with marching band in particular, and I'll leave other ensembles, you know, up for the rest of the panelists. But yeah, there's not a fee majority of the time. Was highly unlikely that you will find a place that has a fee, because a lot of things are going to be covered through athletics. It's different. It's very low stress. You just show up, get a shirt that you can keep for 4 years, and you're good to go for the most part. So for us, there's really no fee when it comes to marching band.
That's the same way it is for us. There's you know, you actually get a little per diem and a box lunch out of the deal sometimes. So, and we all remember those. But and as for the concert ensembles, of course, there's no fee for that. In fact, I got thinking about this a minute ago. I don't know, somebody was mentioning engineering. I'm not sure if Dr. Miller, if that was you or not, but there was a point where sometimes somebody came up and said, you know, we don't know if we can add 1 more credit to our schedule. And so, and I know other universities had done this before, but we came up with the 0 credit option. So they could go ahead and, you know, add that to their schedule, and it doesn't put them on an overage of any kind that they, you know, so they don't have to go over. But that's been very successful for our non-majors, particularly in that way. But no, there's no fee.
Yeah, and that's, you know, at UCF, it's the same for like the pep bands, the basketball band as well. So same as, you know, marching band, and they're going to if the basketball team's on, going to a tournament, and they're going to take care of all of the transportation, all of that as well. It's coming down to a shirt. In orchestra, well, let me start with choir. We do have, you do have to get a uniform. And so if it's a tuxedo, and we just have tuxedo and dress options, you can choose whatever option that you would like. And some folks already have their tuxedos, so you're done. And then if you get the dress option, you get that. And that's the only thing. And it's actually they're quite cheap comparatively to what I used to have as a high school director in Central Florida. But UCF pays for all the music. So you're paying maybe $65 compared to that, $200-300 textbook and the other classes that you're purchasing. And then with a lot of our instrumental ensembles, orchestra, band, jazz, they're doing a concert black that doesn't always have a specific uniform dress to it or something like that. So choir does sometimes have a little bit of something where the uniform's concerned, but again, that's it, because then everything else is paid for by the university. What I have been astounded with, and we're so fortunate, is this entire year, our administration has paid for singers' masks. I've given my students 2 singers' masks. I've given them face shields, and we've given them we will have given them 3 t-shirts because we're performing informally. So we're not doing the formal concert. So the choir is actually paying for the t-shirts. So we have been paying these students to be a part of choir, and that's kind of cool that we've been able to offer all sorts of different, PPE, as well as just, it's kind of fun to have these shirts and what have you. Masks, we've provided other masks coming up for a concert that we have in April. Masks have been provided. We did a MLK huge concert outside, and the city paid for masks for us. It's been really, they felt like rock stars, which is as they should be. So it's good stuff.
Well, and so it sounds like I could come up to college now with my saxophone. I could show up, I could join with no audition, and it could cost me relatively nothing to keep playing music. And I'll have more time than I did in high school anyway. So there's no real reason not to. It sounds like a good deal. And, I'll tack onto that a little bit. This was covered in some of our previous webinars, but at some colleges, some universities, and everybody's different depending on where you go. Some universities or colleges, do actually give you additional financial aid depending on, what they need. I know there's some of the smaller schools in the state or private schools that will do stipends for doing marching band and basketball band and some of the choirs and other ensembles to encourage membership. And I'm not going to ask you guys to go into what your universities do, but if you're at home, I do encourage you to, look at the university's website, contact, if you're like I sing saxophone because I'm a saxophone player. If it were me, I'd contact the saxophone teacher and be like, I want to come here and do this. What do I need to know what opportunities are available? And on that note is, if I am a non-major, can I take lessons on my instrument, or can I take voice lessons? That's a question for you guys.
Oh,
I didn't know you were done.
oh man. For us here, our College of Music and a lot of the students are very, very large, when it comes to numbers. So a lot of times if you wanted to take lessons, it'll probably come from a graduate student, just because of the sheer number of hours and students that a professor has to kind of meet with. And a lot of times these doctoral students, at least for us, have their own studio off to the side kind of thing that they're doing, which, would honestly maybe be cheaper sometimes. But honestly, it's just up to contacting that actual applied instructor and say, hey, I'm interested in lessons, and just seeing what they're saying. My mom always said there's always 2 answers, yes and no. So it's a 50-50 chance. All you have to do is ask, because there might be opportunity that it might be able to be done, but nobody's ever tried to do that. So, if you have a skill set and you want to continue it, you can maybe audition for that lesson and let somebody be like, hey, you have some great skill. Let's keep that skill going. as well. But I know for us, it's probably going to be a doctoral student first, and then maybe you can work your way in, I think.
I can't think of a time really when a non-major wanted to take lessons and was turned away. I mean, maybe it's happened and I just didn't know about it, but I can't think of a time really when that's happened. And it's for those exact reasons. I mean, if they have time in their schedule, they're going to find either they're going to be able to do it, um, even if it's not on FAU time, it might be in their own private studio, like Dr. Wilson said, or they're going to find a grad student who's going to be able to work with you on that. So I think that's definitely doable.
I think it's doable as well. I see that the applied professors are usually at capacity. So it could be that they have, a private studio or something that they could do work with you, which again would probably be cheaper, or it's going to be a student of some kind. Even the undergraduate students are teaching privately through music businesses like a Sam Ash or something like that. So you can often find folks that are being a practicing teacher that need students, and you might be able to even have work out something where they are required to give lessons for a class. You could then be their student for free, kind of a thing. So again, be creative and see what it doesn't hurt to ask.
Well, and that's the moral of the story, I think, is, you ask and, you could be told yes or no. And I feel like in most cases, if you want to take lessons, somebody's going to teach you lessons. And a lot of schools, you can do that as a 4-credit opportunity, which actually, if you're able to do that, probably costs less than the cost of traditional private lessons. And we hear the term graduate student being used often. And if you don't know what that is, a graduate student is somebody who's getting their master's degree or doctoral degree at the music school. So for example, if I were going to go take lessons from a graduate student saxophone player, they would be getting their master's degree or doctoral degree in saxophone. And I remember back to when I was an undergraduate student, 2 of my favorite graduate students in our studio, they're both, college professors and recording artists now. And, so graduate student is not necessarily a bad thing. Actually, it's never a bad thing. If they've gotten that far in music, they're pretty amazing. So let me summarize. So now I show up at school with my saxophone. I don't audition. I can be in an ensemble. I can travel with the ensemble and sometimes get a little spending money when I do. I just have to buy a shirt or a tuxedo or whatever. It's tuxedo, which by the way, I probably had from my high school program. And I could take lessons. So now I'm in an ensemble, I'm taking lessons. So why not be a music minor? What is a music? I hear that all the time. I'm not going to major in music. I think I'm going to minor in music. And sometimes I don't think we all understand what's entailed in a music minor. Music minor, I believe, is probably a little more involved than other minors that a student might do. Am I wrong about that?
You are correct. And in fact, I'm going to say it's a lot more involved than most minors. And I have always, for years and years and years, advised my students that if you're going to get a minor or you're thinking about a minor in music, you might as well just get a Bachelor of Arts in music, which is of the music degrees, it will have the smallest credit requirement. But you're taking all of the core classes that the music majors are. So if you have got the time and the desire and financially can handle a double major, I would encourage a double major instead of the music minor, because you're getting it anyway. So why not have the degree?
I agree. And in some cases where you bring in college credits and you bring in a lot, so it takes away a lot of your gen ed courses and things like that, and you have time in your schedule. Yeah, that's doable. But it's still a lot of credits. It's many more credits than the average minor on campus. It's just more doable, I think, when you have space in your schedule because you've taken care of that in high school. And we find a lot of students that come in with lots of credits already.
And music class is typically a 1-credit technique class. You're doing twice the work. because you're playing as well as, and doing playing tests as well as having a written test. I mean, there's so much time involved in a music major, a music minor. You might as well just, again, let that time go towards a Bachelor of Arts degree.
A double major, right?
Double major.
I agree. I don't think I have to add anything on to that because that's pretty much it. That is 100% correct.
Well, and just to piggyback on what Dr. Miller said, I know with our students here all the time, when they say I'm going to do a music minor, it's the same thing. Well, you might as well do the Bachelor of Arts because it's basically a little more than a music minor plus a ton of electives, which in college, that can be your other major.
Right.
So, and sometimes having that double major does open up doors to scholarships that might not have been available before. And again, that's a university specific thing that you're going to want to ask, and just something to think about. And then we're going to open up for questions. I know when I was going to college, I was going to be an engineering major, and it was about 2 weeks after the school year ended. I was like, I'm not doing band today. It was weird because if you're really into it, it becomes so much a part of who you are. And sometimes you don't realize it until after the fact. If you're considering, if you're at home right now and you're thinking, well, I want to be a music major, but I'm not sure if I should. Well, if you want to, you should. And I can tell you, and I'm sure they can all vouch for this too. I love my career as a music teacher. And the biggest question we get from parents all the time is, are there jobs? There are so many jobs for music teachers. And you hear all the time right now, we're in a teacher shortage. We're in a music teacher shortage. I know in our county, every year we have, 13, 14 positions that open up mid-year or during the year because there just aren't enough people out there to do the job. So if you've ever thought about it, keep thinking about it. It's a great career. It's a great experience. Being a music major in college is something that I would never give up. And if you're not going to be a music major, please, continue participating in music in college and beyond. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and take any questions that you have. If you want to raise your hand, you can talk. If you want to just unmute and talk, that would be great. If you're watching at home, I keep looking down. I feel bad, but I have the Facebook open here. So I'm watching us, but there's like a 30-second delay. So it's weird. So I'll look down and I'll see myself looking up, and then I look up and then I'm looking down, but that's okay.
I like that you said the Facebook.
Originally
It was called the
Facebook.com.
I remember.
Yeah, it was just for college kids. You only can get in through your university.
That's right.
Right.
But I put the on the front of everything because it drives my students nuts.
Nice.
So,
Very absolute that way.
I enjoy that.
well, and while we're seeing if anybody has questions at home, if you guys have anything that you want to add, anything we didn't cover, anything we didn't talk about. And if you're at home, good, Dr. Wilson, if you're home, if you have questions, put it in the chat.
One thing I can think about is, not, because we're generally talking about music as a whole, but I know one of the biggest, scary things that happens a lot with at least band students is the idea of doing marching band in college. And sometimes marching band was just a lot. When you were in high school, it was a ton of work, and it's like, I'm not quite sure if I want to continue to do that. But marching band is one of the first things that you can actively get into once you get to college. You're going to be there about a week before the university starts. You're going to find people in your majors that aren't music majors. You're going to find tons of people, tons of friends. We use the term family atmosphere, but college marching band is definitely that. No matter where you go, once again, whether it's here at Florida State or UCF or FAU, it's one thing that you realize it's so much fun, and you get a chance to go to games, you get a chance to travel, you get the chance to do a lot of things and meet lifelong friends in marching band. Now, is it for everybody? No, understood, but it's something that you should kind of, at least consider and don't be afraid of, and just find out more information and stuff about it, and just, give it a shot and see what happens.
I like the fact that you get on the campus before everybody else, you get into your dorm before everybody else. You're sort of you're getting the lay of the land, before the other 30,000 people get there. And so that's one of the things that is very comforting. And plus, you meet a lot of people that are lifelong friends. I to this day have friends from my undergrad when I was in Marching Chiefs. That's just how it is. You will keep those people forever. And of course your high school days. And the other thing I want to add to that is that college marching bands, when they're with each other in a stadium, are the same way you would think that it is in high school bands, right? Band people are band people in marching band, and that's just how it is. It's not this competitive against each other. It's this cheer on the other group, and I think that kind of idea and atmosphere is always a healthy place to be. Oh, Dr. Miller, I'm sorry you don't have a college marching choir.
That's, it's all right. We just got, well, and I will say, to share a quick story, I went to college to play volleyball. So I was there early, but we'll just say I didn't really agree with the coach. And then the band was already started. So I just joined the band and was drum major the next year. So there's always, and then because I wasn't going to be a music major, but joined that marching band. And within a semester, because I had scholarships to be a part of ensembles, even though I wasn't a music major. And then all of a sudden I'm a music major December and was taking everything. So it's just, it finds you. It finds you. It does. And our choir is already, we just got an invitation to Carnegie Hall in 2022 for the Come One, Come Y'all choir. That's not the audition choir. That's the Come One, Come Y'all. So we're hoping things will get back to where we could partake in that. So there's just great things for everybody.
So let me get this straight now. Now you haven't heard me
this
sing.
Story start with your saxophone on your back?
No. This
Okay.
I'm going a different direction with this one.
Okay.
So you haven't heard me sing, but it's not good. And my students will vouch for that. So, but if I were coming to UCF next year, I could join your choir and I could go to Carnegie Hall. Yeah.
We're probably, well, we've never done this before, so we're going to have to figure out funding, because this will be first for this group. But yep, that's what we're gonna start taking a look at. We've got the invite.
Even for a baritone with a 1 octave range.
You got it. You got it.
Well, I might enroll for that.
Do you really have 8 notes?
On a good day. Well, and it depends. If we're talking about Western music, it's probably 8 to 11.
Okay.
I'm sure I've got 20 something other notes.
There you go.
Depending on the time of day, and any other questions, and it doesn't have to be about music ensembles. If you have a question about music major, do we have any students in here that are going to be music majors or thinking about being a music major? I realize not everybody is going to be in 12th grade. Any music majors or I can't ever say that word, or possible music majors here in the room?
Excellent.
Madeline, what kind of group are you in? Are you a choir, band, orchestra, guitar? What do you do?
Didgeridoo.
We had a didgeridoo club here.
Get out.
Yeah.
Right.
The kids showed up and they're like, "We need you to be our sponsor." I'm like, "For what?" They said didgeridoo club, and there were like 25 kids in it. It didn't last. Choir and theory.
All right. So Madeline, I've got a non-music major choir student that just composed, because she's really strong at theory, just composed a piece for us, a little 4-page piece. So there you go. You can do it.
That's right.
And Bri, what are you? Band, chorus, orchestra, guitar, other? Very cool.
Very cool.
Are any of you guys seniors? You already know where you're going to school next year?
There you go.
Hi, I was about to type and I figured I should just unmute.
Absolutely.
I haven't figured out where I want to attend school, but I am a senior.
Very, very cool.
Fantastic.
And you said you want to be a music education major.
Yes.
Very cool. And I see Jonathan wanting to go to FSU. Jonathan, are you band, chorus, orchestra, guitar? I know I'm leaving somebody out. And what grade are you in, Jonathan? So Bri is a senior. Bri, is it Bri? Am I saying that right?
Bree?
Or
It's
Bree?
Bree.
Bree, I am so sorry.
It's
I am
okay.
so sorry.
It does look like the word try with a B.
Yeah, no,
You're forgiven, Dr. Hammond.
I am so bad with names. And Madeline's a senior, and Madeline is
Love
playing,
that you mentioned guitar, piano. We haven't mentioned piano.
you know, which there are piano performance majors.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we need more collaborative pianists.
Oh, gosh, isn't that the truth?
See? Yeah,
The world.
you can make a lot of money as an undergraduate playing for
Right.
lessons, recitals.
Well, Jonathan, if you're a ninth grader and you play tuba and you want to attend FSU, I can't speak for the university, but I will give you a scholarship to Freedom High School. You just have to move into our school zone.
Take a look at our summer music camps too when you get a chance, Jonathan.
You know, that's a good point. A lot of our universities have summer programs, and that's a really great way to get. And I'm thankful you mentioned that, and I see your shirt on. A lot of them have really great summer programs all over the state, and that's a really great way to try college music before you get to college. Would you recommend doing a double major if your major has nothing to do with music? And I'll let them speak to that. I would think the answer is absolutely. I feel like most double majors is probably something that's not related.
Oh, sure.
Music.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Thing for me is ultimately whatever you want to do. That's a cool thing about college. It's your decision, your journey, your timeline.
Yeah, your money.
Do
Your
it.
money.
Yeah.
Well,
Nobody can stop you.
And I've got a former student who's actually up at FSU right now that went to double major in French horn performance and physics.
Ooh.
So vocal performance major, but
Well, I'm going to answer this, but I admit from the beginning it's a very biased answer because I'm a coordinator of music education, and you need state certification if you're going to teach and apply it to many other areas. You don't need a performance major to perform. You want to go down to Disney, if you've got the voice and you've got the look, you got it. But if you want to teach, which if you look at what most of the professors are doing at the university level, they're teaching. And so but again, I'm biased. Talk to folks that are in the performance side as well. But I've just always felt that music education is again a great foundation for all of the music degrees.
and that brings up a great question. That is, do music education majors, do they get to focus on performance while they're in school?
Well, I think that I can, of course, speak from my own experience at FSU as an undergrad and a master's student, as well as where I'm teaching at FAU. Yes. So, you will study with the main professor when the main professor wants you in their studio, and that's how that will work. You might choose a grad student to study with, but most of the time you're studying with, as a music major, you're studying with the applied professor of music for that particular instrument or voice. So I think that that's an important part of that to think about. Was that part of that question, Dr. Antman?
No, it's just yes. It's part of the one that I asked. It was just a side note, just wanting to know, and to go off what you just said. When I was an undergraduate student, I thought about doing performance, and my professor said, "Well, my degree's in education." He goes, "If you want to perform, just I'll push you as hard as you're willing to work." But I do feel like I had friends that were in college that graduated with a performance degree. I didn't even know they were performance majors until they graduated, because we were in the same
Right.
classes most of the time.
Right. The other thing that I'm seeing too, and maybe Dr. Miller and Dr. Wilson might be seeing the same kind of thing. I'm seeing people coming back to become music ed majors that had another life before that came through as a business major, got one undergrad, and missed playing and teaching or singing and teaching so much that they're now enrolled as getting a second bachelor's, and now it's in music education. So we're seeing that, which is interesting. And when I have conversations with these people, it's, gosh, I wish I would have done that in the beginning. And some are not, no one is bamboozled by the fact that you may not get rich being a teacher. No one's shocked by that. But it's your quality of life is where we push in this direction. What's your quality of life going to be? And those are what the people that are coming back are realizing. I just wasn't happy doing. And I had a guy that was working in a bank making a lot of money, and he came back and now he's a middle school band director, and he's as happy as I've ever seen him. And he's young. I mean, he did it right. It didn't take long for him to realize how much he missed it. So I think that it's a funny thing about not majoring in music, for example, when you first get in. And I was one of those. I didn't want to major in music when I first got into college. I just thought I'd had enough of band, and I would still play, and then I see all my friends taking theory and taking their applied lessons and doing all these things. And I was always leaning in that direction. And then finally somebody said, you might as well just major in it. And here I am. So I did. Probably a good thing I did, because I really can't do anything else. So it's a good thing I'm doing this, right? And I think all of us would agree too, that there's, just like Dr. Ammon said, there's a lot of jobs available. And at my school, at FSU, I'm sure UCF, students who graduate that want a job, they get one. That's just how it is. We all have a very high percentage of job placement rate. So I think that's an important point. And I think parents want to know that too. They always
a lot of parents need to know that, and I say this is my 9th year at UCF, and I had a great job at another institution. I came back to Florida because Florida is so supportive of music education.
Exactly.
And this is just a great state to be in. And in my 9 years at UCF, there has not been a semester where I have been able to fill all of the requests that principals have had when they've contacted me about an opening. Now, again, it may not be high school band right off. You might need to work into that or get into the county and what have you. But if you want a job, there's jobs every single semester. And that's graduating in December as well.
Well, on that note, and we were just talking about Florida, and we're very lucky in Florida and you don't realize it because most people that are listening right now have never been outside of Florida, but there are just so many good music schools in Florida and such a strong system of music education in Florida, which is why those jobs are there. Mm-hmm. And so we're really lucky to have so many great universities here preparing students for those careers, or just providing opportunities for you to perform as a college student. So I'd like to, on behalf of the Florida Music Education Association, thank Dr. Miller, Dr. Wilson, Dr. Chapman. I don't know if you guys will be willing to drop your email addresses in the chat.
Absolutely.
So if you guys at home have any questions, or you guys that are on the Faceplace that are hanging in there with us, if you have any questions, feel free to contact any of them. And I will drop my email address in as well. Feel free. And if there's something I can answer for you or do for you, let me know. And I also want to point out that this is our 5th and final webinar for this school year. Thank you to you guys that came tonight, and to the people who have been to all of them or some of them throughout the year. They are available at fmea.org. Please go check them out. Lots of really, really great information in those webinars from some great presenters, including our 3 terrific presenters tonight. So on that note, thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you guys at home for being here, and have a great spring break, great spring semester, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ammon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Ammon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.